Hey, what's up? It's Chris here from Chris's Sci-Fi Reactions. Today we're back with another Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This is Season 2, Episode 3, called School Hard, I believe. Just double check that. Yeah, School Hard. So, last episode, an okay episode, if I remember correctly. Yeah, some assembly required. Yeah, it wasn't the best episode, but that being said, it wasn't the worst episode I've seen either. There were some absolutely terrible ones in Season 1. But yeah, really looking forward to getting into Season 2. I know many have said, oh yep, Season 2 is when it really starts to get good, so yeah, really looking forward to that. If you're watching this on Patreon, it is Christmas week, so Merry Christmas to all my Patreon supporters. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. I really do hope you have a good Christmas during this difficult time of 2020. Here's hoping 2021 is better. But without further ado, I'd say let's just get straight on into this.
In every generation there is a chosen one. She alone will stand against the vampires, the demons, and the forces of darkness. She is the Slayer.
A lot of educators tell students, think of your principal as your pal. I say, think of me as your judge, jury, and executioner.
Man, this guy's a real dick.
Tell me, who do you think is the most troublesome student in this school? Well, it is quite a match between you two. On the one hand, assuming you have any left, I decided to put the two of you in charge of this event. You have 3 days to prepare the refreshments, make the banners, and transform the school lawn.
School?
It's no biggie. You'll have a nice soiree. Parents will love it. As long as nothing really bad happens between now and then, you'll be fine.
Are you crazy? What did you say that for? Nothing bad is gonna happen.
What do you mean nothing's gonna happen?
Not until some dummy says, as long as nothing bad happens.
It's the ultimate jinx.
What were you thinking? Were we even thinking at all?
Well, you guys don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe this time
not
it'll
a
be
fan
different.
of jinxes. I don't think they exist. That's just my personal opinion. It looks familiar.
Home sweet home. To take his step on up. I'll do your Slayer for you. And you keep your flunkies from trying anything behind my back. Deal?
I can't see her. The Slayer. I can't see.
She's
Start where
psychic?
she is. Kill her. Kill her, Spike.
So we got a
Kill
psychic
her for me.
vampire?
It's done, baby.
Kill her for Princess.
I'll chop her into messes.
You are my sweet. My little Spike.
So, how about this Slayer? Is she tough?
She is really creepy.
What's wrong?
I spent a good part of my allowance on this new
I
cream.
didn't leave much behind.
Well, if I survive parent-teacher night tomorrow, I'll see what I can do about Saturday.
You're being a tad flip, don't you think? This is serious.
And getting kicked out of school is laughs aplenty.
You know what happens when you let your life interfere with your slaying.
Okay, well, if my slaying doesn't get me expelled, then I promise my banner making won't get me killed, okay? Just please let me get through this week.
This Saturday's going to need a great deal of preparation.
Well, we'll help.
Yeah, I'll whittle steaks.
And I can research stuff.
And while I'm whittling, I plan to whistle a jaunty tune.
Your help will be greatly appreciated, but when it comes to battle, Buffy must fight alone. You are, after all, the Slayer. Slave. slaves. You're all slaves to the television.
Yes.
Young people nowadays. Shall we go?
That's...
You wouldn't be helping Buffy in Sheila's place, would you?
No.
We're hindering.
She ditched. I...
No wonder my brain's fried.
Oh, it's
Come
fine. I didn't pick up on him being there.
Go get something to eat.
Where's the phone? I need to call the police. There's some big guy out there trying to bite someone.
Spike. That's what the other vampire called him? It's a little unorthodox, isn't it?
Maybe he's reformed.
Perhaps he went by another name in times past.
Well, whoever he is, we'll need all the help we can get come this Saturday.
So this night of St. Vigius deal.
The Hellmouth will restore you, put color in your cheeks, metaphorically speaking, and in a few weeks' time.
The stars would align and smile down on us.
And then, God, this town will burn.
Oh, pretty. They're preparing.
St. Vigius is coming up.
Giles and everyone...
Is locked in there studying. Right. French class it is.
Is that your mother?
Here. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna introduce you, but, she wouldn't have said much. You know, she doesn't speak a word of English.
I think she could have come up with something a little better than that. Mind you, when you put on the spot, sometimes
Giles
it's hard
has
to
us
think
locked
of
up in that
things.
library working on your weapons. Even slaves get minimum wage.
What can I say? Couldn't wait.
You know, I didn't actually picture them coming to the school. I don't know why. It's pretty obvious they would, but it just didn't cross my mind.
Nobody get...
Oh,
But not to kill.
jeez.
I feel better.
Almost use an axe to
How are
take
the
her head
others?
off. The one
Principal
you're supposed
Snyder,
to
my
protect.
mother, and 4 others are locked in the science room across the hall. Willow and Cordelia ran the other way. I don't know if they're... Where's Xander?
He got out through the stacks. He's getting Angel.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna take the vamps out in the hall. After that, you get my mom and the others out the same way.
Let me help you.
Giles, my mother's in that room. If I don't make it out of here, I know you'll make sure she does.
Bloody right, I will. Fair enough. What's your plan?
Well, they split up to hold us here, so I'm gonna take them one-on-one. Set them up.
They're trying to kill us.
I'm guessing she's a vampire now.
This should be fun.
I thought she was actually dead at first, but now that she's here, I'm assuming...
Angelus! Spike! Oh,
Angelus.
damn!
Have they called him that in the past? Angelus?
I
Not sure
taught you
if
to
they
always
have.
guard your perimeter. You should have someone out there.
Come on, Angel. Punch him in the frickin' face. Oh.
You think you can fool me?
I'm so bored.
I'll tell you what. As a personal favor from me to you, I'll make it quick. It won't hurt a bit.
No, Spike. It's gonna hurt a lot.
Nice.
first move. I had to see if he was buying it or not.
The truth?
Right.
Truth.
Gang-related PCP.
Okay, so he's at least
So,
partly up
what
on
did you and Principal Snyder
what's
talk
going
about
on
anyway?
with the Hellmouth.
Principal Snyder said you were a troublemaker. And I could care less. I have a daughter who can take care of herself, who's brave and resourceful and thinks of others in a crisis. No matter who you hang out with.
Spike, did she hurt you?
It was close, baby, but...
Oh, come here.
Our numbers are depleted. The Feast of St. Vitus has been ruined by your impatience.
I was rash. And if I had to do it all over again... Who am I kidding? I would do it exactly the same, only I'd do this.
No!
From now on, we're going to have a little less ritual and a little more fun around here.
Ah, it's nasty.
Let's see what's on TV.
Jeez. So now we're dealing with Spike as the big bad, probably for the season. I really enjoyed that episode. That was season 2, episode 3, called School Hard. Really enjoyed it. I'll probably give it an 8, an 8.5. Had a lot of good moments in it. And it was strong, especially liked the parts, you know, with Spike and Buffy in it. I mean, Spike, he's a cool villain. I mean, if you compare him next to the Master, I think there's no competition, personally. I think Spike brings a whole new level to the series, and I'm hoping that's part of what makes the series as good as it is, especially from this point on. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's also interesting considering I've started reacting to a program called Sanctuary, and that I'm interested to see how that lines up with Buffy, if it follows a similar sort of premise to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But let's just break this down. We start off with 2 troublesome students, Buffy and this other girl, I've forgotten her name. There's basically, I guess what you could say, the principal's putting up a, if you like, a competition. Whichever one fails gets expelled. Then we have Buffy sort of talking with Xander and Willow about what they can do. Then we're introduced to this Spike guy, played by the wonderful James Masters. Seen him on Torchwood and Supernatural. I enjoy him. Watching him, he's pretty good from what I've seen him in. And I've heard he's very good in Buffy, so yeah, I do kind of have been a bit spoiled there knowing he's a long-lasting character. Then we're also introduced to this Drusilla, I think her name is. And she is creepy on a whole nother level. And I'm interested to see more of her. She seems to have some sort of psychic power here. Buffy's, you know, talking to her mum. The mum wasn't told that there's a parent-teacher interview coming up, and she's asking, oh, what do you think your teachers will say to her? Then we have Buffy, along with Willow and Xander, sort of, you know, preparing for the parent-teacher interview night. Then we have Giles sort of saying that, you know, hey, you need to take this Saturday more important. But, you know, I think both need to be taken into account. Because if she's expelled from school, then that causes all sorts of problems as well. She then covers for her, I can't remember her name. Then we're at the bronze, we have Willow, Xander and Buffy sort of dancing, we have Spike watching, you know, sort of analysing who it is, and then has her go out and fight a vampire. Then Spike basically introduces himself. Then we find, you know, Spike sort of kidnaps the friend. Well, not the friend, the competitor, I guess, if you like. And then we have them all in the library. Willow makes a comment about, like, Angel having 400 girlfriends over his lifetime. Well, obviously that he could have if, you know, he had dated so many, you know. Then we have Drusilla and Spike in their accommodation, if you like. Then we have her, and she's obviously transformed to a vampire here. We have them preparing for Saturday. Even Cordelia's helping, even though it was only for like a few minutes when she started complaining about it. Here we have Buffy's mum, and Buffy gets Willow to sort of take her around, in order to avoid Principal Snyder sort of meeting up with the mum. And Cordelia, you know, here, and they're all here, and then the principal very much takes them away. Here, Cordelia, you know, Willow sort of says, oh, have the punch, because it's absolutely awful. Yeah, I'm really glad Willow's sort of standing up. Here we find who Spike is. You know, he's barely 200, but he's killed 2 Slayers in his time. Here we have the vampires basically storming the party. Then Spike ends up killing one of the teachers. They're locked up in this room. Buffy really takes charge. Principal Snyder, for the frickin' guy he is, doesn't allow her to give any commands, but Buffy really steps up. Then we have Buffy climbing through. She ends up dropping into the library, quite literally. Yeah. Then one of the teachers tries to escape. The principal, you know, tries to help him. And then he gets dragged out of the room, the window, and basically killed. Here we have Angel and Xander together. And I believe Spike called him here Angelus? Angelus, or was it Angelus? I think it was Angelus. Sort of pretending that he's still bad, but he's been playing this sort of trick. Then we have that girl, you know, she's become a vampire. They're about 2 feet off Xander, but Spike doesn't fall for it. Then we have Spike and Buffy sort of have their confrontation. And yeah, Spike almost gets the upper hand, but then his mum, then Buffy's mum frickin' whacks him with an axe and says, you know, get away from my daughter. And then we have Giles and his girlfriend, basically. And Giles saying, oh, I wouldn't blame you if you left. Here we have the principal talking to a police officer. We find out that the principal seems to know at least something about the Hellmouth here, but he obviously doesn't know about Buffy and the Slayer, but he at least knows something about the Hellmouth. Yeah, also the principal sort of said, oh yeah, I warned that man not to go through the window. I mean, the guy is just, he freaking pisses you off. He's that sort of man. Then we have the mum sort of saying, oh, I don't care if you're getting into a bit of trouble. I've, you know, raised a strong, independent daughter, which is what she's happy about. Then we find out that Willow and Cordelia are very much stuck in the closet. Actually, this episode's a bit funny because it had a link recently. I follow a reactor called Geeked Out Nation, and he did a Supernatural on his Patreon review to an episode in season 7 where the actress that plays Cordelia and the actor that plays Spike, James Masters, were both in it as husband and wife. Okay, so then we have them coming to the end. Sort of Spike ends up, you know, admitting failure, but he'd do the same thing again, and then he kills the boy, and then basically declares a new regime, if you like. And that's the breakdown. Okay, so that was Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2, Episode 3. Really enjoyed it. I think I'm going to give it an 8.5. So I'm going to go up a little bit from an 8 to an 8.5 after breaking that down. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Solid episode, much better than last week's. I don't think there's much more to be said. Apart, Merry Christmas to all my Patreon subscribers who are on basically the early access on Patreon. So yeah, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and for those that are watching this on YouTube, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I know it's been a crap year, but let's hope next year really does start to get a bit better. The full uncut and edited reaction is available on Patreon, listed in the description below, as well as my social media accounts. Also, I have started reacting to a program called Sanctuary. It seems that it could be a bit like Buffy, slightly different, but, you know, maybe more, you know, sort of monster of the week sort of thing. But it would be really interesting to compare how that goes with Buffy. Yeah, so I think that's all for now. I will see you next time. Bye.